It's a mindset, us or them. And what I mean is that, when I'm in that growth mindset, that's us. Where, you're in the growth mindset. I'm in the growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We're there. And our perspective is completely different than them. And them being that they're not in the growth mindset. I've already thought about what I'm going to eat 4 times today.
Yes.
I'm us.
Yes.
Them is going to think about what we're going to eat 2 minutes before it's time to eat.
When they get hungry.
And then now you've put up roadblocks. Well, I don't have anything. And I'm going to do something. So it's that us or them mindset, and it starts with that. So I think if you can get them to be us, most of the decisions made are going to fall into the category for the right reasons.
Lee Mclaren is the founder and owner of Fitness Depot Houston and 855BJJ. He joins us today to talk about the evolution of fitness and the mindset shift it requires to be successful. Lee shares very similar goals to OTG, which is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. Please enjoy this conversation, and if you do, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite social media platform. Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate OTG Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since 3rd grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Shawn. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Lee, man, long time coming. I've been waiting for this day.
I'm excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, welcome. I really appreciate you making the drive. I know you have a little bit of a drive to get down here. And but I've been wanting to make this happen for sure.
It's for a good cause. So
yeah.
We'll definitely invest the time and the effort to do so.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you don't know who Lee is, the way that I know him is he has seen the progression of our gym from the very beginning. I don't remember. I'm sure that I stumbled across you guys on Instagram somehow a little over 6 years ago. And Lee came by. I called him up. He came, scoped out our space. He's like, hey, this is what you need to do with your equipment. He provides equipment for people, mostly in their homes, but also in commercial situations. He came in, mapped out what we need to do, installed it, and you've seen the progression every single step of the way. Because anytime the gym improves, we need to improve equipment, right? So I call you up, come by, take a look at it, whatever customizations we need. And I really appreciate the input that you've had with that, because having a consistent layout where our clients can come in and feel comfortable and do what they need to do in a nice space where the equipment is where it's supposed to be and the coaches can move around properly. You know, if you're listening to this and, you're obviously not in my position as a gym owner, you don't even pay attention to this, because it just is what it is. But for me, I'm always scoping, making sure things are flowing the perfect way, and having a setup that allows us to do that, it really means a lot.
Well, and I think it starts with, you as an individual who really, really cares.
Yes.
And, when we first met, it was almost like a pipe dream. You're working, it wasn't corporate, but it was typical 9 to 5, sure. On the grind, trying to figure this, trying to figure that out. And you had a good cause and purpose, and you really, really wanted, you found fitness and it helped you on your journey, and you really wanted to pass that on. And I could tell by your passion and your level of want to make it succeed that I knew, you were going to do it, just didn't know when. So congratulations on your progress, and thank you for making us a part of it. Yeah, I have Fitness Depot Houston, which is a fitness equipment store. We tout ourselves as the ultimate fitness resource. So it's not limited to fitness equipment, but like Philip said, we were able to assist in everything from not only the equipment, but consulting, layout, design. Well, why is that important? Well, you look at you running an operation, and we need to make sure, first and foremost, everybody's safe. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we got to
Great
have,
point.
you know, that goes without saying. And you know, next we need to make sure that everybody's comfortable. And comfort can be everything from, you know, how you use the equipment to walking into your space and the vibes you get. And you know, it's imperative that, I mean, we're in a fitness space. It's a very weird space. You know, people get weird about it. They want to talk about it, be about it. At the end of the day, it is what it is. And, you know, to create a space that makes people comfortable, safe and comfortable, it's imperative. And that's why we created the store, because we saw a big need in the industry. It started, it in the fitness industry on the equipment side, but then got into the gym side of the business. So I've been on both sides of this conversation, and I realized when I was opening a gym that there's no direction or consult. You want to buy equipment? Here it is.
Yeah, and like, what do I do now?
Okay,
like, what do I do with it? You would come in and I guess it's just from your experience. And I mean, obviously, everyone has their talent, right? So if a client comes to me talking about something with their food or their lifestyle, boom, I can say it easily and be like, man, how do you do that? And it's the same when you walk in your profession and you walk in, it's just I'm pondering about this for hours, and Lee walks in, he's like, no, just move this here, cut this down.
100%.
And
but
it's that easy.
It is, yeah. But then you want me to program for your clients, and I'm calling you.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, is that we're all kind of, you know, good in our space, but we also need to surround ourselves with good people, and that's imperative for growth.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, when we look at this as a whole, our success is indicative of your success. Now we have a vested interest. Now it's a symbiotic relationship that we have to grow together for the right reasons. It's not like, I'm going to get a one and done sale to Phil and we're going to go to the next one. No. This is like, we got to make sure Phil's in a position to succeed. And you know, when we got here earlier, we're talking about the next location next. And I've had this evolution with multiple customers. You know, it starts off as a pipe dream. Well, fast forward, we opened the store in 2015, fast forward to 2023, almost 2024. We've opened multiple gyms with multiple customers, and we've had the same conversation like you. Hey, here's what I want to do. I'm running boot camps in Herman Park. You know, I want to open this grand facility, and fast forward, and he has 3 gyms now. So, you know, these are all things that, you know, it's a long-term relationship. There's nothing short-term about it. And, you know, we felt the need is in the fitness space for multiple reasons. And, you know, the fitness space is a very, you know, weird space, but it's also an evolving space. And, you know, the whole evolution of fitness is pretty unique in a sense that it's very new. You know, maybe 100 years old, if that, because there was never a need for it. And, you know, as we sit today, 2023, going into 2024, fitness has become a necessity. It's always been looked at as a luxury. And, you know, our role is to make that necessity, to help with that transition.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I've never thought of that. You said that. I'm trying to sit here, think as you're talking. I don't know. I don't know how old the fitness industry is. I don't know how long it's been around. I mean, you see the old workout videos of Arnold and stuff, and that's kind of all I know of older. Yeah, but if
we look at Pump and Iron, what was that, 1976?
Late 70s.
Yeah, and mid to late 70s.
Yeah, when I think of early fitness, I usually think of like that time, like 70s, 80s.
Yeah, and what was fitness before that?
Well, not much.
Yeah,
and
it was the strong men with the curly mustaches
at the carnivals.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was because it was kind of like a thing. But everybody, you know, if you look at videos of people in the 1900s walking around, I mean, show me a fat guy. The standards have changed, which reinforces what we're talking about right now, is that it's evolved from this thing that was, you know, it was an inherently a part of our just being. Now we have to work for it.
Do you think that's maybe why so many people are opposed to it? Because I heard a statistic the other day, and I did not fact check this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read that in the early 2000s, roughly 17% of our population worked out. It's not a huge amount. And I think now it's like 22%. So 22% roughly of people work out regularly, which is defined as, I think, 30 minutes, 3 days a week.
Okay.
So it is what you're saying, the reason that a larger portion of our population is opposed to fitness than that accepts it. Do you think there's...
I think I try to approach everything very pragmatic.
Okay.
And I think people look at fitness as they put it on a pedestal and find reasons not to do it because it's hard. At the end of the day, it's hard, and it can be boring, it can be mundane, it can be whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a necessity.
But and kind of back to what I was saying is, in the 50s, life was hard. Life's still hard now. Don't get me wrong. Like life, everyone's struggling, but it's hard in a different way.
Correct.
You know, and so maybe because we're not exposed to, it's really like my generation and younger, you know, that probably they don't know what hard is. They think that your air conditioning going out is hard.
100%.
And yeah, I mean, in a way it is, but it's only because you were spoiled before.
100%. Standards have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When we were growing up, I remember when I was growing up, I had to get up and change the channel on the TV. Like that's unheard of.
Right.
Like for me, you know, we got 4 channels to choose from. While you're up there, go ahead and move the bunny ears and throw some aluminum foil on it. But what I'm saying is that just to do something as simple and basic as that, it required an effort.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are today, you know, minimal effort to do anything, change the channel. That's nothing. I can sit on my couch and I can run my business and I could order Uber Eats. I could order my groceries. I could do everything without even standing up.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a bad thing?
It is when it puts us in the position we're in today.
Yeah.
And that's everything from the, you know, the chronic disease crisis, obesity. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Real quick, Phil, could you get the I think your Sonos is still on. I can kind of hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I meant to stop that.
Yeah, speaking of technology, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Is it a good thing?
Yeah.
No, not when it interrupts the pod.
No, it's all good though. But yeah, like it has its ups and its downs, right? So in one way, you have all these great things that are luxury, but maybe, and my girlfriend has this funny thing that she thinks that, speaking of, this changes subject a little bit, but speaking from a food perspective, she thinks that a lot of the food that we eat today, like, you know, the Twinkies and cookies and fast food and stuff like that, she thinks that we're in one of those eras right now that 100 years from now, people are going to look back and like, oh my gosh, look at all the poison they were eating. Because, you know, there's been periods of time in history where eating certain things was considered a luxury. Mm-hmm. But looking back, now 100%. We know that it was a complete poison.
100%. And I think she's spot on because it's going to come out.
Yeah.
It's coming out now. Now we can be an ostrich and stick our head in the sand, or we can acknowledge what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just touch on the food. We grew up with the food pyramid. And the food pyramid, you know, grains and at the base,
at the bottom,
and
it
works its way up, so on and so forth. Well, it was all predicated around processed foods and everything else. Mm-hmm. I saw a video the other day, Paul Saladino, the carnivore MD.
I'm familiar.
And he took a box of Wheaties. Michael Jordan on the cover, on the box, you know, Olympian athletes, everything on Wheaties. And he takes it and he puts it in a blender, adds some water, and what makes this Wheatie mush. Then he takes a magnet and he puts a magnet to it, and it pulls up iron filings in the Wheaties. I know it's iron.
Yummy.
I know it's fortified with iron and vitamins.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was iron shavings.
Like actual iron.
Iron shavings.
I didn't know that eat your Wheaties made you Iron Man, I guess.
I guess it's a whole new concept to getting iron in your system.
Yeah.
But the reality is that, you know, that blows my mind. Mm-hmm. And you know, I was talking to my daughter about it yesterday. She had my oldest. And not the fact that you're eating metal shavings. I mean,
this might be the first time I've heard like a positive thing about TikTok, to be honest. But so why is it? Let me hear your opinion. Why is it that there's this information, then there's all this other stuff going on as well? And maybe this is the same reason as we want to sit down to change a channel instead of standing up to go walk to change a channel. Why is it that the good information like this doesn't seem to affect people as much? Well, what's going on there?
It's crazy to me, and I think it goes back to the lack of education and understanding. Mm-hmm. And look, we've all been bamboozled. We have all been tricked. We've all been lied to. We've all been, it is what it is. And it's incumbent on us to find the truth.
Yeah.
And as I sit today as a 44-year-old, dad of 3 beautiful girls, husband, business owner, the priorities are the priorities. And, it's crazy that she sees this TikTok video and in her mind, that's a cool video. In my mind, I'm completely disgusted. My head's about to explode. And what I'm getting at, the information's out there, but how we interpret the information, I think, is where we're falling short.
That's what I'm asking. It's like, why is that happening?
And I'm saying we were tricked. And we were tricked everything from the health class that we were in 10th grade, talking about the food pyramid and everything else, and thinking that was a lifestyle and this is what it is, and all the way to the pharmaceuticals. Okay, you're overweight.
Yeah, I think it's like it takes a lot of like dismantling, like to believe one thing, not have to believe a whole bunch of other things.
Well, especially when it's been ingrained in you from the jump.
I always say that kids only know what they're taught.
100%.
So if you raise a kid like in massive poverty, like they don't know anything else about the world. Or if a kid is raised in a wealthy family, they don't know anything else.
100%.
Kids only know what they're taught. So kids eventually become adults.
100%.
So this whole thing starts with the children. And that's where I'd like to kind of lead this conversation. And I'd like to ask you, like, what do we do?
Well,
right? Fitness has evolved, right? We've established that. So now, like, when we talked about why a little bit. So now, obviously, it's different because you have to, it sounds like to me, what you're explaining is we now have to go almost out of our way. It's become more of an inconvenience a little bit. It's hard. Like 100%. You mentioned, it's not as easy as it used to. It used to be you had to walk to the store, right? And things, I'm just making examples.
No, and it's, I think it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, you had to walk to the store. What I'm saying is technology exists. How do we use it for the good?
Mm-hmm.
And when information's out there, well, it starts with you. You got to look in the mirror and you got to figure out, what you want out of this. And if you want a long, healthy life, and that's what it is, well, then it's an investment of time, money, effort, everything else. And, the whole direction we're going in is that it's going to expose itself in only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes. Shit, I lost my thought.
Well, I was going to ask you one thing. I wanted to ask is,
or you say, how do we fix it?
Yeah.
It starts with the kids. Well, I think we have to fix ourselves before we can fix the kids. And
Great point.
And for my wife's gonna kill me. All right, I get. We can bleep this out. We may have to. Here's a good. Like, for example, I'm having a issue with my middle 6-year-old, and it's not even an issue. She's a 6-year-old. She's doing exactly what I expect her to do.
Right. She's 6.
She wants to eat bagels and chocolate chips every morning. Complex car.
Me too.
I
want to.
Exactly. And that's my point, is that she's 6, and every 6-year-old probably is going to want to eat something like that. Well, I know the inherent dangers of it, everything else. Well, why am I fighting with her in the morning to not eat it? Well, the reason I'm fighting with her is because it's on the shelf.
Yes.
I got chocolate chips in the pantry. I got bagels on the shelf, and here we are fighting. And the reality is that she's 6 and she's doing exactly what a 6-year-old is supposed to do. Well, the battle's not with her. The battle or the conversations with my wife. I didn't buy the chocolate chips, but they're there. She didn't buy the chocolate chips, but they're there. So it comes to not only look in the mirror, but also having this unit that is pulling the wagon in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I says it starts with us, and then it goes to our kids, because we can't educate them if we don't know. We have to almost have this experience. And that's why it's important that we look in the mirror and we face this head on, and then it evolves from there.
Something that I try to really get through to people is minimum effective dose. Remember that? Like, if you think back to high school, college, talk about like in chemistry class and things like that. What's the minimum amount you can put in to get the maximum out?
Yeah.
That's something that I try to use with people a lot, where yes, it is. And you mentioned it's an investment to do this. It costs time, it costs money, it costs effort,
100%.
all these things, right? But how do we get people to understand? Because you said it's a mindset. So what do we do to get them to change their mindset in the parents that can then go to the kids? And a term that I use, like I said, is minimum effective dose. People don't always have to do as much. This is just my thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts. It's not as huge of an investment to get a little bit better. And then if you get a little bit better, then you can eventually get a lot better. Well, right. So how do we get them moving slowly in the right direction?
Well, and I think that's kind of every trainer, gym owner's kind of mentality. But the reality is that I think that's kind of like use an analogy of a square peg through a round hole.
Think so?
And what I'm saying is that I don't think we can make people see that, but what I think we can do is be there for them when they do see it. And a lot of times people have that oh shit moment. And whether it's, they went to tie their shoes and they're out of breath, they can't play with their kids. And when they hit that wall, we have to be there. But I think if we're trying to put them there, if they can't put themselves there, then how in the world are we going to put them there?
Man, I can't argue with you.
So
very true.
Very true. I say, it's a mindset, us or them. And what I mean is that, when I'm in that growth mindset, that's us. You're in the growth mindset. I'm in the growth mindset. Mm-hmm. We're there. And our perspective is completely different than them. And them being that they're not in the growth mindset. And sorry, I threw my wife under the bus. I'll continue. Well, but what I mean by that is that it's, I had to pick up my daughter from cheer, and I had my other one with me, and my wife calls me, and we're coming home, and it's like 8:30 at night, and she's like, "Hey, my middle one, what do you want to eat?" Well, and, I almost lose it because we're going to be home. It's late, and you had me started, and now we're trying to figure out what to get. My point is that I've already thought about what I'm going to eat 4 times today.
Yes.
I'm us.
Yes.
Them is going to think about what we're going to eat 2 minutes before it's time to eat.
When they get hungry.
And then now you've put up roadblocks. Well, I don't have anything. And I'm going to do something. So it's that us or them mindset, and it starts with that. So I think if you can get them to be us, most of the decisions made are going to fall into the category for the right reasons.
Yeah, they're going to improve over time. The word that I use is intentionality.
Yes.
And I actually stole this from Dave Ramsey.
Nice.
Dave Ramsey,
yes.
Right? Yeah, he talks.
Free.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't say that I'm, following all those principles. But,
is anybody really?
Yeah, but
is any business owner really?
Doubtful. There are some apparently, but
show me.
Yeah, right. The point is that he uses the word intentional. He says if you want to get out of debt, you have to be intentional about it. If you want to get fit, you want to lose weight, you have to be intentional.
100%.
Waiting until you're starving to drive to Jack in the Box to order your fast food is not being intentional.
100%.
So I think that you just kind of, gave me a new mindset where maybe the more positive way to look at this is to really do the best that I can with my intentionality and show people the benefits and the positivity, and also let them understand, make sure that they educate people to understand that their decisions are their decisions. If they want to be them, then unfortunately, maybe we just let them. It's very difficult for me to do that, though. Keep in mind that
it is, and it goes against almost every cell in your body.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to do that.
You want to be there, but at the same time, there was a point that Philip, if I would have gone to you and tried to show you the light, you would have seen nothing but darkness.
I remember, I remember in high school.
Go ahead.
I remember in high school, like eating. This is so embarrassing. Like eating burgers and like being proud of it. Being like, as a, 13, 14 years old,
because the way it made you feel.
15, even, honestly, I guess because I was driving it. So I was like
super
16 years old.
fond memories of eating certain fast foods all the time.
Yeah, and being like, grease.
More grease on the bag,
like,
the better it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. Yeah, the grease on the bag and it being like a pride thing to 100%. Eat that. Like, what was I doing? But people do that. And now it's like, I was a different person.
but
now I'm an us, and
you
I
were
was
them.
I was
You were them. And even at the point, I was them. And look, people teeter-totter back and forth too. Us, them, and even me to a certain degree. But once you get to that point of perpetual momentum, it's really hard to ever become them again.
Yes, results are motivating.
100%.
Tangible results are super motivating.
And I think organically we lead by example. We live the lifestyle. It's like, what am I going to eat today? What am I? It's process. When am I going to work out? I mean, I'm sure you already know what your workout is if you haven't already done it.
Right.
So that's my point. Is that it's a priority for us, and by making it a priority, it's become a lifestyle for us. But why is it a priority? Because we recognize the need for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, by leading by example and showing things and telling our story, people can become one of us.
Yeah, it's very difficult for people to make that transition from one side to the other.
It is.
But it's not impossible.
No, and look, we're prime examples of that. You were a fat kid. I was a fat kid. And it's almost... It sucked because we missed out on a lot as a kid, and you're very malleable as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I didn't take my shirt off. I was the kid at the pool party that forgot a swimsuit. I didn't forget my swimsuit.
Dude, you sound exactly like me. I tell
Yeah,
that
you
story.
knew exactly where you were going.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
because you felt that.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is we were them. Well, now we're us, and we were able to bounce back from that. Well, I wasn't a genetic freak. I had dog shit genetics, but most of my friends had phenomenal genetics. Well, fast forward now, and I see them, and some of the most God-gifted athletes that I've ever walked the earth I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way more athletic than them now.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that it happening to us at a malleable stage sucked and everything else, but it gave us the opportunity to bounce back.
Yes, and I think I know I'm a stronger person now because of all those
Literally
things.
and figuratively.
Yes.
100%. But now, fast forward to 44 years old, and I'm in that position. The bounce back is the time to bounce back, and a lot. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we lost time as a kid, but it gave us the opportunity to make up for lost time. And I think a lot of people now that didn't experience what we experienced as kids now experience as adults.
Yes, I am very grateful that I experienced these things younger than later. I have had this conversation with many people that I feel blessed to have gone through all the things that I do. And what I was going to mention earlier, one of the reasons that it's very difficult for me to let people do stuff like that, because I know the consequences, and something I'll ask you here in a second, but my mom died in her 30s, dude, 36. I'm 4 years away from the age that my mother died.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the consequences. And
You've seen them. You lived them.
Yeah, I lived them. I know what it feels like to be a teenager with no parents. 100%.
And there's not many people out there that can even fathom that.
Yeah, and so like what I was going to ask you is what's going? Do people understand the consequences, or do they ignore them? Like what's going on?
Us do, them don't.
Okay, it's that simple, huh?
I think it even with fitness, we try to go in the gray. This is black and white.
I have a bad habit of that. I do agree.
I think we all do.
I have a bad habit of hanging out in the gray to try to get people over to our side.
Your intent is sound, but I think the results are not.
Lackluster.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not because of lack of effort. I think you're just you're fighting the wrong battle.
You know what? I just had a little epiphany in my head. Our best clients, obviously we're a personal training gym, right? Mm-hmm. We help people often on a one-on-one. We do private, semi-private, very small groups, very, very private setting, very intimate setting with our customer base, right? Our best customers are the ones that come to us. They've become an us in their mind. Their body doesn't show it yet.
Well,
but in their mind,
to be us, you don't have to look a certain way.
Great point. Can you expand on that?
100% is that it's a mindset. I'm not, need my wife to look like some supermodel. She's beautiful. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But my point is that that doesn't turn me on. You know what turns me on? Hey, I got 2 T-bones defrosting for tonight. You ready? Whoa, let's go.
That's pretty great. But I agree.
And that's what I'm saying is that that fires me up. Because she's in that growth mindset where it's, she wants to better herself. The results will come if you're in the mindset. But if I'm forcing results, then A, they probably won't come. B, if they do, they're going to be for the wrong reasons. They're going to go as fast as they come.
Yeah. And kind of what I was getting at with my point is our best customers are definitely the ones that come to us and they tell me what they need.
100%.
I just listen.
And those the worst customers are the ones that came in looking for the best price.
Yeah, that's very true. And they're also the ones that I have to force to come in. I'm trying to bring them to my side.
Spending more time, money, effort, resources to help somebody that don't want to be helped, which is taking away time, money, resources from the people that do want to be helped.
Yeah, I told you we've recently grown quite a bit and stuff. And Justin, who's like our GM at the gym, he recently, we talk a lot about this stuff, and that's something that he's really hammering me. He's like, hey, dude, at one point, we had over 180 personal training clients. 180. We were spending so much time on administrative work, trying to get them in, trying to do all this stuff, taking care of their accounts, just calling them all the time. Hey, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And Justin's like, hey, dude, we're doing this all wrong. These people over here that are getting great results, they show up. Maybe their results aren't even showing yet, but they're showing up in their mind. They've made the mindset change. They're on our side, right? They're just kind of go over here. They're doing what they need to do, but we as a business, and I'm admitting this, we're doing it wrong.
Sure.
We were not doing the things for them that we should have been doing. We were spending all of our time over here. And so now we've cut back actually, and everything's great. The business is better. The clients that want help are getting more help. And it's because we are focused on the ones that have made the mindset shift.
And the ones that aren't ready yet, they know that you're there for them when they are ready.
Yes.
And that's what they need to leave with. And it's okay if you're not ready yet. But you better get ready soon.
Yeah. And it's very difficult for me just to sit back and wait for them to be ready,
It is, because your drive and your passion is to help, but once again, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah.
And I think that your energy has to go to what's going to yield the most results. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are and we're all about growth, but growth isn't necessarily contingent on bigger. I did a consult this week, and I'm taking a 2,500 square foot personal training facility and shrinking it down to 1,100 square foot. Well, how do I get 2,500 square foot of equipment into 11? But it's good because she has, she's used the equipment. She knows what she needs. She knows what she doesn't need. Mm-hmm. So we can go through there. My point is that their gym is shrinking, but the reality is it doesn't mean that the revenue is.
Yes, we've noticed that as well.
So 100%. So growth doesn't necessarily be. They're growing, but they shrunk. Mm-hmm. The business is growing, but the gym size has shrunk.
Yeah, the square footage is irrelevant here, or it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. What matters is people's lives are impacted.
That's it.
And the people that want it are there.
So more is not necessarily better. It's the same thing in a workout,
quality over quantity.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My high school baseball coach taught me that. Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Well, I learned that when I did CrossFit.
Yeah, I can see that too. Well, I did. What do you feel is, we've talked about all these, us and them mm-hmm. and making our world better. Then things have unfortunately gone in one direction. Fitness is harder to do now. So you talked about people need to make a mindset shift. Well, what are you doing in this whole situation? Like, what do you feel like your role is? What's your future? How are you, trying to help? And maybe I can learn something here too.
We do this through the store. And just like, I apply a lot of the, being a gym owner and understanding, what you guys go through and what we go through, I try to apply a lot of the concepts you apply. And what I mean is like when a customer walks in, what kind of vibes do they have? So if they walk into the store, if they walk into your gym, what kind of music are you playing?
Mm-hmm.
I walk in with my 6-year-old and we got 2 live crew. You see like, it's, what does it smell like?
Mm-hmm.
Does it smell like trash? Vibe.
Yeah. All these things matter.
What do you see? And were you greeted? It's all about that. So we apply that same concept at the store to make people comfortable in the fitness space because it's such a weird space. Then you take the next step and qualify the needs. It's not like, okay, I'm here to buy a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have bikes, but a lot of times it's like, I'm here because I want to lose weight. Okay. That's some direction, but not much.
Not much. Yeah.
Same thing. You got to qualify. Okay. Weight is vague. How much weight do you want to lose? Is it real? Is it obtaining SMART goals? Specific, measurable, attainable, all those things. So we go through that process, but we do that similar process for your equipment needs, just like you do for their training program. So by being able to take them through this process and qualify the needs, if you hate riding bikes, well, I'm not going to show you the bikes. Let's not waste your time or my time or anybody's time. Let's go to, and then also we use our, store and platform to show new different types of stuff. The fitness space is a crowded space. You go on Instagram, I'm sure your feed's probably just as bad as mine with all the gadgets, widgets and stuff. Doesn't mean they're all bad, but they definitely aren't all good.
Yeah, you mentioned vibe. We use the word culture, vibes, culture. They're interchangeable terms, right? But you mentioned how fitness kind of it's like a weird thing for people, makes people feel kind of weird. Do you think that if someone, and I already know the answer to this, I'm just curious of your opinion. If someone walks in and in the first 30 seconds, anything negative happens, do you think like they're out? Because they're almost, they already feel weird about it.
Think about somebody they're walking the line of us and them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to push them back to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So keeping that level of comfort and keeping, the guard down and everything else will continue their journey to us.
Yes, I agree 100%. I like the way that you put it, because what I tell, obviously in personal training, we do sales, right? It is what it is, right? So nothing,
an aspect of the business, 100%.
Nothing bad about it. It's what I do every single day.
Sure.
I'm a salesperson. It's what I do. But what I tell everyone anytime I'm training them on sales, in our environment at least, and I know this sounds kind of negative, so if you're listening to this, don't take this the wrong way, but the way I view this is when people come in, they are often looking for reasons to say no. They're not always looking for reasons to say yes. So if you don't give them any reasons to say no,
exactly,
they got to say yes. And now they're one of us. So everybody wins.
But when they become one of us, the mindset shifts. And what are they looking? They're no longer looking for the reasons. No.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
that's that.
Because you didn't give them any. Yeah, yeah.
So it's that mindset and that clientele. And that's why, at the store, we want to qualify and put them in a position to succeed. Just like I wanted you to succeed at the gym. The home gym, garage gym journey is a constant.
Mm-hmm.
Training changes. When I started my garage gym, I was powerlifting and I had all this weight and everything else, heavy dumbbells. Now I do jiu-jitsu and my heaviest dumbbell is 55 pounds. So your training and needs change, but by putting you in a position to succeed, we can, just like you looking to open up another location, I can keep them in that evolution through their home garage gym journey based off of where their specific needs are.
Do you think that finding the thing that they enjoy doing is like the most important once they've made the decision? Because you mentioned powerlifting, which obviously is lifting a lot of weight. Jiu-jitsu completely different. Either one can help someone get maybe the means to an end.
Yes, I think you need to tie some sort of, because at the end of the day, running on a treadmill is like a hamster wheel. Like, I don't want to get really good at running on a treadmill. I run on a treadmill so I can run with my kids. Mm. And so you need a purpose for this. And, some people like, I do jiu-jitsu and, I'll start competing again at the first of the year. Well, training to compete, I have a goal and I know that I'm going to have to go out and compete and may have multiple matches in a tournament, and I have to be prepared. So, that when I'm training for a competition versus just my day-to-day training, it does change.
Because you have a reason.
100%.
But I guess what I'm asking is,
do people need that
yes,
reason?
That's what I'm asking.
So I think they need a short-term and long-term reason.
Okay.
Long-term, longevity for my family. Short-term would be these incremental goals like jiu-jitsu tournaments, a powerlifting meet, a triathlon, a marathon. These little things that not only challenge yourself and are often measurable. I ran the marathon at this time last year. I ran it, this much faster this year. I think these are good benchmarks for you to compare yourself. We encourage people in jiu-jitsu to compete, not to go win a medal and hang it up and brag about it, but to test yourself. Put yourself out there to kind of see where you are amongst somebody your same age, your same rank, your same size. You roll with the same guys every day, so you got a general idea. Well, I really want to see where I stand. And then, when you go through these processes and these growth, you identify things. I went to the tournament, got my ass kicked. I didn't have any conditioning. Now I can go back in.
Now you have something to work on.
100%.
Dude,
So now
that's so true in the running. Like that whole mindset right there, like putting yourself out there and actually like challenging yourself and seeing where you just lay amongst the ranks is super.
Yeah, we started running recently, and Shawn's running his first half marathon.
Yes, very soon.
Up.
So you have intent with your training now. You have goals. I'm sure your diet's probably changed a little bit.
A little, not a lot. Not enough.
Not enough. But you acknowledge it. You acknowledge it. You're owning it.
Yes, sir.
Well, so, we're often probably having the similar. I never thought about this, but we're maybe having a similar conversation with customers about what their goals are and where they're trying to. That's
what I did coming from, I was in the equipment space and I got into the gym space and I applied a lot of the same methodologies because, before fitness was working out at home was never like, it was always like, you're going to go to a gym. You're going to go to a gym. Well, now I have to, work through this evolution. And by applying stuff that's been successful in the gym market, knowing that market, the home gym market, will be very similar, I can take some of those parallels and apply it and get similar results.
Yeah, and what I wanted to ask is, because when it comes to me, when I'm talking to people, yes, I do try to help them find things that they like. But at the end of the day, we have our program that we recommend that is good for the masses, and it's strength-based, functional fitness, things like that. And so what my pitch, I guess you could say, is that everyone needs a base of strength training. And that's what we do. And then beyond that, I try to help them find what they like to do, whether it's a sport, whether it's running or biking.
I think, like with what you do, I call it more kind of functional fitness.
Yes. And
more applicable for real life application versus traditional fitness. We talked about Arnold, fitness, a lot of fitness was predicated and based around the bodybuilding methodologies and look.
It still is. A lot of it
actually came back.
Yeah.
So we're going through, now we're starting to get these cycles that we're seeing. We didn't, it being the infancy stage, we never saw these cycles because it never really existed. Well, it's, bodybuilding, late 70s came out, boom. And then we had the group fitness with all the Bally's, Total Fitness, President, First Lady, Richard Simmons stuff. And then boom, we had the Tybo push. And then, then we had the CrossFit functional fitness push, and now we're back to what? Bodybuilding.
More bodybuilding.
There's a lot of bodybuilders out there now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the cycle continues. I don't think one's right or wrong, but what I'm getting at is what you do is more functional fitness. People would like to look like that, but I don't think that's mainly what people want or need, or maybe what they want, but it's not what they need.
As far as like the look of bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. I talk especially with guys, especially men, usually more. They want to do legs, and then, well, they never want to do legs. Let's be honest.
They want to do bench, and the girls want to do legs.
But they want to do chest today, they want to do triceps tomorrow, shoulders the next day, back the next day. And we're often talking about, yeah, that's great if you want to do that, but what we encourage is this kind of full body functional fitness approach where we're focused on strength, compound movements, and stuff like that. And you will eventually look better too, but you got to eat better.
Yeah.
If you also want to look better.
But it comes to, what is our goal? Do you want to look like a bodybuilder? Well, and then, okay, why?
Yes.
You want to go on stage? Well, no.
Well, then why?
Then
Yeah.
why? So it
great-
comes down to the goal. And, you
Yes.
know, it's my goal is longevity and be able to play with my kids.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, isolating my biceps may not be the best for it. Maybe I should, you know, put on a ruck and go walk for 20, 30 minutes, just like I got the baby carrier on when we go on vacation.
Yes.
Something that's
It's more applicable to
Yeah.
your life.
Let me do a
Yes.
suitcase carry with a 400-pound suitcase when we go on vacation.
Let me guess, that's your wife's suitcase, huh? Since we're throwing her under a little bit here today.
But
We're gonna have her on next time.
Yeah, I'll let her talk about you a little bit.
No show. You don't have enough hours in the podcast for that one.
Yeah.
But it comes back to the why. And I think people, if they don't really know what they want, then it's incumbent on you to guide them through that process. So,
and I feel like that's a huge part of my job is to have that conversation with people. Yeah, everyone wants to look better. Like, let's just get that out of the way.
look better naked.
Who doesn't want to look better? Like, well, duh. Don't we all?
You're lying. So
Yeah, exactly. But it is deeper than that. But a lot of times they just know maybe like you said earlier, like they have that like, oh shit moment.
Yeah.
You know, and so they know that this thing, but they haven't had anyone to really talk to about, because a lot of people if people are on them, we have us and them, right? If people are on their side, most of their friends are probably their side as well. Right.
Look,
so they're not able to have that conversation and really bring to light all these things.
Not only that, they discourage us.
Yes.
They discourage. When I started, I was even in the fitness industry when I got out of college, and I was working, it was more corporate brand, but it was still in fitness space. Okay. And I remember, you know, it would be somebody's birthday, and they'd have birthday cake. And of course I wouldn't eat it. And everybody there, I was the, you know.
How's that rabbit food?
It's
my favorite one.
You and I, you know exactly. You've heard them all.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not judging you for eating the cake. Why are you judging me for not eating the cake? Because I'm one of us.
Yeah. Just different.
Oh, they don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But what I'm getting at is that I think it's deeper than what you're saying, that, you know, us are not around for them, but I think it's even deeper in the sense that them are going to continue. Misery loves company.
Yes.
And them don't want them to become us.
Right.
So they're going to do everything they can to keep them from bettering themselves.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. And, you know, I know we've already mentioned this a few times, but it really starts with us and then the kids wanting to actually better their lives. And there is definitely a lack of education with the correlation between physical fitness and fulfillment of life. Like, do you ever think about that? Is that something that you consider?
Yeah. I mean, I don't work out to be really good at fitness. I work out to be really good at life. And that's a different approach. And I even had an epiphany the other day. It was a Halloween. And we took my daughters out. I got a 1-year-old, I got a 6-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And we went trick-or-treating. And I had the 1-year-old in the stroller. Kids are dressed up. Boom, we're hitting all the street. As soon as we got to the furthest point from my house, baby went out of that stroller. I'm like, all right. Take her out. I'm going to carry her. I'm carrying her. Well, of course, you got to stop at every house. Yeah. So we got a long walk back, everything else. I'm getting frustrated. It dawned on me. What are you getting mad about? You ruck every day with 60 pounds on your back. And I'm, frustrated because I'm carrying it. No. It's the opposite of that. I don't ruck just a ruck. I ruck so I can carry my kid when I'm the furthest point of the house on Halloween trick-or-treating with my kids. If I wasn't rucking in a position, guess what, guys? We're going home. And I just shorted my kids at Halloween. They'll never get that back. That's on me.
That is such a good point.
So, the intent and the why is very important. Now, it'll also get to a point where you'll enjoy it and everything else. Once you get to that other side, you're there. It's the same thing with eating. Do I eat for, satisfaction, or do I eat for fuel? And, we talked about it earlier. Eating is one of the pillars to sustain life. Then why did eating become such a convenience to us?
I'm glad you brought this up. I specifically wanted to ask you about this. A few how long? Maybe it was probably over. It's definitely over a month ago. Maybe
6 weeks ago. Yeah.
Maybe even 2 months ago. I was up at the shop and we were talking, and we were talking about doing a podcast. And you, even outside of the podcast conversation, you talked about how eating is inherently inconvenient, and the need and push and fight to make eating more convenient is a problem. And I've never considered this.
Well,
And I've been mind blown about that thought ever since. And I've talking to people about it, kind of explaining them like what I took away from that statement. So while we're here now, like just expand on that, I guess.
It came to me one day. I go home, eat lunch. I usually, a lot of times I'll fast in the morning, and then I'll go home and eat a pretty big lunch. I try to keep it more, carnivore, meat and fruit.
Oh, same. Yeah, that's my diet as well.
And this is from trial and error. This isn't just because I, heard it on a podcast or this or that. I've tried many counting macros, this and that, but this is, this is giving me the best results. So when I go home, I'm, cooking a steak, I'm cutting up an apple, and I'm trying to rush through it. I'm getting frustrated. I got to do it. And it dawned on me at that moment. This is to sustain your life, and you're trying to rush this. Like, I had eating on a pedestal as a convenience. And the reality is that there shouldn't be anything convenient about this. Time, effort, resources should be invested in probably one of the most important things to sustain your life. And when that switch flipped, I had no problem sitting there cutting up the apple, taking the time, doing what I needed to do. And it was just a mindset shift. Mm-hmm. And I think food has become this convenience thing. And I think that is a pivotal problem. When you can accept it's not convenient, how important it is, the right decisions will make themselves.
I have changed my entire outlook on eating since that conversation we had 6 weeks ago.
Same.
Seriously. I mean, it is just, it is a completely different way to look at things. And, it's free. It's very freeing.
It is. And even, we have these preconceived notions of breakfast and what it needs to be and this, and it's all marketing 101, cereals and all. You know what I ate for breakfast this morning?
Tell me.
Surf and turf.
Nice. I love steak for breakfast.
That sounds so good.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Liver and salmon.
Oh, it's a little different approach. I've had liver, and I have some liver. I've gotten to where now I have a resource where I buy like a quarter or a half of a cow at a time kind of thing. And I have some liver, and I've tried it, and it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I'll eat it.
But I'll tell you this, I despise liver. My dad used to get the Luby special, whatever, he'd get it, and I thought it was the most grossest thing in the world. I would never touch it, for many, many years. And then I started reading on it, hearing about it, bioavailable, blah, blah, blah. So you know what? I'm going to give it another run. And the next time I gave it a run, I was more, fuel-based than satisfaction-based. And when I ate it, it's still, liver has that iron kind of.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
The texture is kind of weird too.
It is. But when I ate it, this craving came over me. Like my body was yearning it. Like almost, the Lay's potato chips, you can't eat one. You can't eat just one. It was almost like that. I had that same sensation, but it wasn't a natural sensation. It was natural. Like when you eat a Lay's potato chips, it's because of the crunch, the savoriness when it touches your tongue, or the way it melts. Everything from it, all that's been played on through engineered through science and chemicals, and to play into our whole bio makeup and everything else. Well, I had that same effect with liver, something that I hated. I despised it, and unlike Lay's potato chips, you can sit there and eat the whole bag. With liver, I had that feeling, but then I was satisfied because I got so much nutrition.
Yeah, you don't need to keep eating a whole bunch more.
So now it's even to a point where I'll even crave it. And I ate it this morning. And I did, I had legs, so I was like, I better get something good. And I'm going to tell you, it didn't look that appealing on the plate. But after that first bite, it was phenomenal.
You just feel so much better.
So much better.
Yeah.
And it tasted good. And I'm to a point I used to, I'm going to dump a bunch of ketchup on here. Any ketchup, just straight up.
Just straight up.
And it's weird and as gross as it sounds, it was phenomenal.
Do you think that people are lying to themselves when they say they don't eat because they don't have time and it's such an inconvenience. Is that a mindset issue?
You'll die if you don't eat.
So you have to eat, is what you're saying.
100%.
So you might as well do it and do it right. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to, it's like, there's nothing convenient about what's needed for sustaining life. And we've made it convenient. And it's done through marketing. It's done through it for whatever reason. And you know, we didn't cause this, but it's where we're at, and it's our problem, and we have to deal with it, and we have to take it head on. So we there's nothing convenient about having to, you know, sustain your life. And when we put it on that pedestal, when we think it is convenient, then we get the convenient results, and that's where we're at. The chronic disease. I mean, I went to my kids' elementary school a few months ago. There are so many big kids out there, and there should not be any. And it broke my heart.
I know.
And it killed me to see it. And then I saw the parents. Oh.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, but here's the problem is that, you know, now we got generations of parents like that, or before the parents. So now, you know, the kids that went through what we went through are exponentially more. And most of them don't have to.
Yeah, it's funny as you were talking about that. I remember one of our clients actually invited me out to a like a neighborhood baseball game kind of thing recently, and I went. It was really cool, and it was really fun to go watch. Just people play like actual baseball, not slow pitch softball, like actual baseball. But anyways, I was there, I was watching the game. Kid walks up. Feel terrible. And his mom's right behind him. Same situation. And they have a bag, a convenience store bag. It's funny, it's in the name, convenience store. Wow.
Case in point.
Yeah. And so pull out of and then they walk up and then it becomes a whole family.
Yep.
Right. There's like 3 or 4 adults, 3 or 4 kids. And the little kid and the mom set the bag on the ground. They're in like lawn chairs, right? And they set the bag on the ground. Pull out a Coke, hand it to one of the adults. Pull out a Big Red, hand it to the other adult. Pull out a Sprite, hand it to one of the kids. Pull out Twizzlers, hand it to the kid. Pull out a Twix, hand it to the other adult. Pull out a bag of chips, hand it to the other adult. And I'm just like, I'm watching this more than I'm watching the baseball game at this point.
It's crazy. And
I think something that I know, I think all people do, but I know that I do this for sure. As people that want to be successful, we try to surround ourselves with good decision makers, people that want to be successful, people that are similar to us, right? I almost forget that how normal that is. Do you ever think about that?
all the time.
I don't, but I did that day.
I do just because I guess because I have kids, perspective changes a little bit, and you're constantly looking.
That's a great point. I don't have kids.
You're in a lot more social situations with the thems, you know.
Yes.
Like you're talking about,
I don't have that.
And you know, that's when I really started to notice what you kind of noticed, and the reality is that's the standard.
Mm-hmm.
That is today's standard, and that is why, you know, it reinforces what, you know, we've talked about, the necessity or the luxury into the necessity, is because of that standard right there. You know, the 6 to 10-year-old boy that is morbidly obese, and to be honest, he probably doesn't have a chance based off of the support network and statistics, based off of that. So, but at the same time, I don't think you could say anything to that mom to make her one of us. But what I do think is something may happen to that mom through this to make her one of us.
That's what happened to me.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate that this is the series of events that it may require for us to make a change as a nation. And obviously we're here in Houston, right? We're really like, it's in your business, it's in the name, Houston, right?
Yeah.
And same with us, but it really is on a national level where this is a big problem. And it just hurts me to know that that's what it takes. And, I've never made, you just said that, I've never made the correlation that that's what it took for me. So maybe my mindset should be different. Because that's what it took for me. Otherwise, I'd still be the same person.
The end goal's the same, but I think the route you take to it may change a little bit because, the effort it takes to, get somebody to become one of us is insurmountable, and the results are going to be next to none. So I think what we do is continue leading by example and be that resource for people. We call Fitness Depot Houston your ultimate fitness resource, not your ultimate fitness equipment resource. But if you look at our social media, I mean, if you look at it, I'm posting everything from time with the family to what I ate this morning. More lifestyle based, because this is a lifestyle. We're selling a lifestyle. If you need to come in and say, hey, I had knee surgery, and I've been released, but I've never got back into working out since it's happened. Well, come to us and we can make recommendations. I had a torn meniscus from jiu-jitsu, and I can make recommendations on programs that have helped me. I can't guarantee what it's going to do for you, but I can guarantee what it's done for me. So, by being out there constantly vetting programs and things like that, and being that resource, that readily available resource for people, I think that's where our efforts need to go.
Yeah, maybe last question here. You mentioned that, on your social media, it's your business page, but you also include a lot and I noticed this to you, like your the whole situation is involved from your family. Do you consider family, fun, whether it's work and everything, is all this intertwined with your fitness life? And do you think that people need to stop separating those things? And or how do you feel about it? I don't know if you understand my question.
I think I do. I mean, I think fitness needs to be a priority for everyone, from mom and dad to all the kids to grandma, grandpa, uncle. It needs to start with that. To be able to do stuff like if I have 3 kids, I have, a 1-year-old, she's not doing any sports right now. My oldest daughter, she's 10, she's doing cheer, and she also does jiu-jitsu. My middle daughter does jiu-jitsu as well. But, if I got one doing gymnastics, one doing jiu-jitsu, one doing cheer, taking them all 3 to practice is not realistic. I guess it is, but it wouldn't have time for me. So what I'm getting at is that I can get all of us to do jiu-jitsu. The time together and the growth together is phenomenal. So to be able to tie it into something like that, and we have our jiu-jitsu academy, and I can't tell you, I'd say probably 65-70% of our kid students, their parents do it. And I think a big part of that is because of me. And I'm not saying me because, I'm some sales guy that said, no, because that's what I do. And when I talk to them, a lot of times they'll bring their kids in and say, hey, I want them for this, that, everything else. Okay, what about you? Huh? Yeah, I do it. My kids do it. And it's one of the greatest experiences I had this past summer. I got to compete in a tournament with my kids. Like, this was a dream of mine, and it came true. So when you can share, some sort of passion together that can tie the fitness in, the momentum you can build is phenomenal. And then it feeds off of each other. So I think if you can find a way to tie that in, I think success is inevitable.
Yeah, we always say fitness should improve your life, not, take it over.
100%.
It's a part of your life.
Fitness can become and too much of anything can become detrimental.
Yes, 100%. And I think that, and the people in the them category, if to follow the theme that we've been on today, think that is the case. They think because I'm fit and eat healthy and work out regularly, that's my entire life is that thing. It's not the case. My entire life revolves with it, I guess. But yeah, I like, intertwining them all, I think is something that people maybe we could do a little bit better with.
Yeah, I think they need to, we talked about earlier, short term, long term. And, it's when you're hitting that hard set in a workout, or you're tired and you got that last, 30-second push on the sled and you're just ready to quit. Well, I'm ready to quit. And then I think of my kids, and that, you see, like that quit goes away real fast. So, knowing that, or if I'm, training for a tournament and, I start to get tired, then I think about, this is when everybody quits. This is when everybody stops. And then I start to smile and be like, oh, I don't have to stop.
That's not when I quit, though.
Yeah. I don't have to quit. This is when everybody else does. Oh, I can keep going.
That gives me a lot of moment. Like the other day, I went for a run last weekend, and so we have this marathon. Like I'm doing the full marathon with me and Kevin. We're doing the full marathon. Shawn's going to do the half marathon in January. So I was on a run the other day. It was a 15 miles, and it was just pouring raining. And when I started, it was kind of sprinkling, and it got worse. And I'm out there. I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. And I was like, man, maybe I should just take it in for today. I'll miss a training day.
I don't want to slip. I don't want to roll an ankle.
My feet are wet. And I'm out here and I'm running.
Don't want to catch a cold or nothing.
Yeah, I see all these people in their car, and I'm like, that guy would have quit. Not me. That guy would have quit. Not me. That's very motivating for me. So it's okay to make that step. I think this really good. He was one of them.
Yes,
but I'm me.
100%.
And I'm one of us.
But even let's look at your marathon. It's not like you signed up and you're going to go do a marathon. You're preparing for it mentally, physically, spiritually. Like this is like all this is no one will ever take that away from you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the marathon is the day of an event, but that's not what it's about. It's about the preparation, getting ready, preparing yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually for that event. And yeah, the event is the time for you to showcase your hard work.
That's right.
It's the same. That's why I tell people, in jiu-jitsu or a tournament is that, on the way when you're driving to go to a combat sport tournament, you question everything driving up there. Yeah. You stupid idiot. You're paying to go fight somebody. This is Saturday morning. I'm driving up here. I'm nervous as shit. You pull into the parking lot. You see all these tatted jiu-jitsu killers, all these, and you're walking like in perspective. I remember that feeling, and I said, wait a minute. Embrace this feeling. I never feel like this driving to work. I never feel like this going home. I never feel like you're going to fight somebody. Embrace this. This is great. And then once I flipped that, I was like, wait a minute, this feels great. The journey is so worth it. So it's almost like you got to, when you hit that wall of perspective, like you did, oh, it's wet, it's cold outside, everything else, you embraced it. And then when you go to run that marathon, if it's raining, who gives a shit? You've already fought that battle.
Yeah.
You fought that battle in training. So that
lessons that you learned because you fought and you sustained, you worked hard, you persevered was the word I was looking for. You persevered through this thing. Well, if I can persevere, if I can run 15 miles in the cold rain, well, dude, what can I do at work tomorrow?
Well, not only that, I can do it when nobody fucking knows.
Yeah, they don't know my talents.
Nobody even knows that I'm putting in this work. It's one thing if I'm putting in the work and it's out there and everybody sees it and you're getting points for it. Mm-hmm. But no. Only you know.
That's right.
But that's the only one that matters.
Nothing else matters.
Nothing else.
Yeah. I know my abilities. I know, and actually,
but how many people can we stop on the street and ask them that? And how many would really know?
They'd be like, yeah, they wouldn't.
Because they haven't put in the work to do so.
They don't know.
So this is why it's imperative that we get them to become us.
Yeah. And I think that a strong dedication to fitness allows you to have a bigger potential. And that's what it all comes down to. Grant Cardone, actually, I don't know if you're
familiar.
Yeah, okay. He says, your only competition is your own potential.
So,
I want to fulfill that potential, right? And so I'm going to put in the work to fill that potential. I don't care if everyone else says. They say whatever they want. But this is who I know I can be. And if my potential is more than I am today, I'm out there working. And it's really as simple as that.
You're us.
That's right. Well, Shawn, do you have anything else? I think that's a good way to wrap this thing up.
I love it. No,
y'all said it all, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great having you on for sure.
You may have to edit some of that wife stuff. So
hey man, no cuts here.
Those are gonna be the first ones I make, man.
Yeah, we're gonna turn that into the intro.
Well, that move up I had earlier, I was thinking about, she's gonna kill me.
Yeah, man. Well, Lee, Fitness Depot Houston, right? Has all your equipment needs. You guys are big on Instagram. Is your biggest thing?
Instagram. We're pretty active on.
Yeah.
We like I said, we call ourselves your ultimate fitness resource. If you're looking to design a garage gym, home gym, or expand a commercial gym, or consolidate anything fitness related. If you're going through rehab and you're looking for some direction, if you've started running marathons, if you've started your jiu-jitsu journey, if you've started powerlifting. Being a resource for that and having a brick and mortar store where you can come in, try before you buy. We got a huge 14,000 square foot store. And it's imperative that it fits you. I don't want to just sell you something. I want to sell you something that is going to be useful towards your fitness goals.
Yeah. And I know I said this when we first started, but I just want to reiterate how valuable it is to have someone with Lee's knowledge and experience assess the particular situation that you're in. If you're building a gym in your home, or for me, an actual commercial gym, having someone that can get you the most bang for your buck while being the best, most resourceful way to do something. And sometimes just about, you might have an idea and Lee might just tweak it a little bit and it makes it 100 times better or whatever the case is. It's a very valuable thing that you do, and something that I don't see in our industry is someone that will actually come out and assess the property, the room, and everything, and find the most resourceful way to place the equipment. It's a very valuable an important thing for people to do.
Well, thank you. And I think, by offering that resource and putting you guys in a position to succeed, my goal is to get focus on Houston, as many people fit in Houston as possible. Well, guess what? By allowing, you to succeed, my reach just went to your client base.
Yes.
And, I can only do so much, but through you guys, the reach is so much more. And more important, the reason is so much more.
Yeah, and we feel the same way. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. That's our motto. And by talking to you and having this very valuable conversation today, more people here in Houston are going to hopefully make that decision to move from one side of the fence to the other. Become one of us, allow fitness to improve your life, and actually realize your own potential.
And, you may not be ready now, but
when you are,
we're here.
We got you.
Let's go.
We're out.
Peace out.